Hello and welcome back to X's and O's. As always, I'm one of your co-hosts, Peter Borkowski, joined by our other co-host, Mr. Bubba Hayes. Bubba, how are we doing this? What is it? This Wednesday afternoon.
Yeah, a little bit of a change up on the time too for us than our usual recording time, and I'm doing well. How about you?
Not too bad, not too bad. Enjoying postgraduate life. But we're not here to talk about that. So, as we kind of alluded to last episode, a little bit of a slower season in sports right now. Obviously, the MLB is going strong, but we talked about that a couple weeks ago. And NHL, NBA playoffs are going on, but we talked about that last week. We'll probably do a follow-up after the championships, I would imagine, which should be in a couple weeks here. Conference finals and both playoffs going on. But so we have some time to kill, so we figured we'd start a little series here whenever we need to do kind of a filler episode. And it's just going to be top five focus. So every time we do one of these, which I don't know how often we will, we'll pick ideally two top five subjects and kind of go through our list and just have some discussion about it. If we have time for two, if we only have time for one, we'll save it for later, but we'll definitely have two planned and see where we get. So we're going to start that today. We got two top five subjects. Hopefully we can get through. And the first one we're going to knock out here before the break, and hopefully before the break is top five sports movies of all time. Obviously, we like watching the real thing, but it's fun to see a fictionalized version of it or fictionalized retelling of it. Or I don't know, maybe we have some documentaries on your list. You
Yeah.
never know. So,
Mhm.
Bubba, I'm gonna let you go first. So, is your list ranked or is it just top five, like
Uh,
unranked?
I didn't I didn't rank them. I
Okay,
could
that's
probably,
fine.
I could probably gut check rank them for you if you wanted me to.
It's up to you. It's your list. So I had mine
Okay.
ranked, but I'm not like sold on it. So if this is just top
Okay.
five in whatever order, that's fine. But I'm gonna let you kick it off, and hopefully we have some crossover. I think we
Yeah.
will.
Okay. Yeah. I guess we'll find out. So I'll say what is probably we'll say this is my number five. We'll say. And first, I do want to give a couple honorable mention shout outs to the movie Rudy and Miracle. Those did not make my top
Mm,
five, but
hmm
I do like both of those a lot. So I'm going to say my number five is Remember the Titans. That one's a little bit older. Not sure if you've seen that, but it has
I
Denzel Washington, I believe, and another
Yes, a
semi-famous guy that
very.
I'm
I
blanking
don't. I
on.
know it has a very young Ryan Gosling as well.
Yes, correct. Yes.
I have not. I have not seen it. It is one of those movies that people here I don't
Yeah,
see, and they're like, "You got to see it." So I have not seen it
yeah.
yet.
Yeah, that one's a great one. For those that haven't seen it, it kind of follows a team during the time of the end of like when schools were, being desegregated. So these
Hmm
two schools basically combine into one, which means their football teams combine into one. So they have a white coach and a black coach. And, just kind of watching them kind of start as two very different teams and come together into one in a town that admittedly is not quite on board with the whole thing, but as they start to win, people's attitudes and opinions start to change. So that one's a little bit of an older one, but that one's definitely in
hmm
my top five.
All right. Yeah, I can't really comment on it because I haven't seen it yet, other than I just know everyone who knows I
Mhm.
haven't seen it tell me I should see it. So I know it's remembered,
You should.
pun
Yeah.
intended. It's
Yeah.
remembered as one of the better sports movies. So, all right.
Mhm.
Well, good start to our list. I will go off with my first pick. I also had a few honorable mentions. This one might be controversial, but I have reasoning
Okay.
for it for being an honorable mention, which is Rocky. Um,
Okay.
Now, Rocky of this top five, like is probably my favorite movie of the top five, or the five that I
Okay.
have. And I know I'm in the minority here. I just don't really view it as a sports movie. Um,
Yeah, fair enough.
like
I think it
obviously,
could be considered one, but
I think, I mean, most people do because obviously he's a
yeah.
boxer.
Yeah.
And boxing as a decent part of is a, pretty big part of it. But I don't know. When I think of Rocky, I just think more of the character drama
Yeah.
than I
Yeah.
do the actual boxing part. So like I said, I mean, that is one of probably my favorite movies ever. Like the writing's great, characters are great. Stallone's really good in it. but I just don't view it as a sports movie for some reason in my head. So I left that off the
Mhm.
list. Um, to a way lesser extent, Creed is there too. The Rocky
Yeah.
reboot, whatever it's officially called, a really good movie. Again, I just don't really think of it as a sports movie. And then a recent pick, which I feel obligated to put in is the F1 movie with Brad Pitt. Um, Other than obviously I
Okay.
like F1, but obviously also made a
Yeah.
lot of noise last year, was nominated for Best Picture. Um,
Hmm.
in terms of like the story and the movie itself, I think it's good, like not great. Technically though, it's really amazing to watch. It's well
Yeah.
shot. They pull off the racing scenes really well, all the work that went into it. Um, so I really admired that part of it, but like the story and the characters, I thought were good, but nothing special. So
Hmm.
all right. As for my actual top five, and again, I had it kind of ranked in order, but you could
Okay.
probably change my mind on a lot of these. So five, I had Space Jam. Um,
Ah, okay. I didn't even consider that one, but okay.
um, a lot of nostalgia, obviously playing into that one. I've been watching that movie for
Yeah.
years, and obviously I'm a Bulls
Hmm.
fan, so seeing Michael Jordan is cool. Kind of the same thing I said with F1, where like, the story and it's silly, it's goofy, it's
Yeah.
silly.
Yeah.
It is really impressive how it's done, just the mix of live action with
Hmm.
the animated characters. Um, it's always a fun time to watch. It's really short, so you can pop it on and be done with it, and
Yeah.
it's like 80 minutes or something.
Hmm.
It's definitely less than 90. So I don't know. I don't think it's this amazing film, but
Yeah.
it's fun and it's obviously pretty popular. So
Yeah.
and way better than that fuck bullshit sequel they did a couple of years ago.
Yes, I would concur with that. Um,
All right, let's
yeah, I
move
don't really
along.
have.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, go ahead.
I was gonna say I don't really have too much to add on that one. It's a good film. I didn't really consider that to be in the top five, but yeah, I'll let it slide.
All right.
Um, my number four, which I'm now realizing I probably should have flipped with number five. I
Hmm.
really felt compelled to put a golf movie in here. There's a lot to choose from. I don't know that I'd really say any of them are my top five, but I'm for the sake of the conversation, I'm going to put one in. So number four, the greatest game ever played. I'm not going to bore you too much with the
I don't
details,
think
but
I've even heard of that.
it takes place, I think, around the time 1913, and it's based on the story of an amateur that won the U.S. Open. His name was Francis Ouimet. It's played by a relevant Shia LaBeouf back when he
Hmm.
was, an actor and taken seriously. No disrespect to him, but you don't really see him that much anymore. So honestly, that one is just out of all the golf movies, probably my favorite. There's been a couple good ones. Obviously, everyone says Caddyshack. There's some of the
Yeah,
good ones
haven't
like
seen that
the
yet.
I
Happy
haven't
Gilmore.
either. Yeah, Happy Gilmore. Those ones are just a little bit less, serious, I would say. So
Right.
this one I'm going to put at number four, but I think there's several other golf ones that you could put in there.
Yeah, I didn't even think about Happy Gilmore, which I'd probably
Yeah.
put as honorable mention. I don't think it's amazing as everyone says, but it's
No.
fun.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Space
Yeah,
Jam.
it
It's
is.
fun.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
okay. Like I said, I never heard of that one. So,
Yeah, I figured that one you would.
all right, this one might be on your list. I don't know.
Okay.
At four, I had A League of Their Own.
Oh, I didn't. I thought about it, but no, that one didn't. I didn't really seriously consider that, but I do actually like that movie.
I can't speak on it too much because I haven't watched it in years.
Hmm.
But I mean, it's a good movie. It's funny.
Yeah.
Tom Hanks is great. The
Yeah, he
whole
was really
cast
good in
is. Tom
that.
Hanks is great in it,
Yeah.
and his whole
Yeah.
character is fun to watch. Kind of transformed
Yeah.
throughout the movie. Like I said, I can't. I probably went through a couple year stretch where I watched it a lot for one reason or the other.
Hmm.
And it kind of solidified itself there. Obviously, important message and story to tell as well. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I don't know. I felt like that deserved a spot up there.
Yeah.
I definitely need to rewatch it really soon.
Yeah. I'd agree with that. I've seen it a couple times, but not for a couple years. I'm glad we at least have something like that on the list. So I didn't really think about adding that, but that one is a really good movie, I would say. And yeah, you're right. Tom Hanks was good in that. Um, okay. You want me to do number three?
Yes, let's hear your third.
Okay. So this one, I'm sure you've seen it. Maybe it's on your list. Maybe it's not. 42. I had to go
Mm,
with this one on the list. Obviously, the now late Chadwick Boseman
mm-hmm,
was really good in that. A lot of good performances. I don't know. I thought that was a pretty, you know, I think for someone who isn't really even a baseball fan, I think that would be a pretty good just story and movie. And as a baseball fan, I think it's even better because you kind of, hear some names that maybe you know a lot about, but didn't know about in that context, like
mm-hmm.
Branch Rickey, for example,
Right.
the owner of the Dodgers. So I
Yeah.
thought that was, a pretty interesting movie, and I think it's probably definitely one of the top two baseball movies. I guess you could maybe, add A League of Their Own in it as well. But that one
Mm-hmm.
I think is pretty good.
Yeah, I actually haven't seen it all the way through. I watched probably actually this past Jackie Robinson Day. My roommates put it on in the living room. So I caught probably the last, I don't know, half of it maybe. I don't know
Okay.
what, I don't know exactly. It was right around when the manager gets fired for
Okay. Yeah.
cheating on it or having an affair.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I can't say anything solid about it because I haven't watched the whole thing, but from what I did watch, it was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chadwick Boseman's good. Harrison Ford is really good as Branch
Yeah.
Rickey.
Yeah.
Um, so I do need that is another one I do need to watch all the way through at some point.
Okay.
So, all right, my number three, and this might also be recency bias, and it didn't come out recently, but I watched it probably just a few months ago. Ford v Ferrari.
Okay. I've
The
seen that a couple years ago, I think.
the racing movie about Ford's attempt to catch up with Ferrari at the 24-hour Le Mans.
Yeah.
Um, I liked it a lot more than I thought I would. I thought it was just going to be kind of a stock generic sports movie. Um,
Hmm.
but the leads, Christian Bale and Matt Damon are really strong in it, especially Christian Bale. It looks great. It's shot like all kind of like F1, the race, the actual sports scenes in it are done really well. Good music too. Actually, I don't know why that stuck with me, but um, yeah, I don't know. I liked it. I was very because everyone really hyped it up when I think it was 2019 when it came out.
Hmm.
Everyone thought it was really good, and then I heard a couple years after some people are like, "Well, it's not that good." So I kind of went in with probably lower expectations, and I don't know.
Hmm.
It surprised me. I really enjoyed it. So it was really long.
Okay.
So I don't know when I'm gonna rewatch it.
Yeah.
Might be a little longer than it should have been, but I I thought it was really strong. So, and a really interesting story as well. So that's
Okay.
I had that at three, but I could see A League of Their Own jumping that after I
Okay.
rewatch it,
Gotcha.
after slash if I rewatch it.
So you got a couple kind of racing movies in there. And by the way, if I should have thrown this in the honorable mentions because it's not a film, but I have to give some credit to Speed Racer. That one was
I know
important,
I know it's a big
very
one in your,
important for my childhood at least. Haven't seen it in a while, but I should at least mention that. Number two, this one, Peter, I really hope you've seen. So many great, quotable lines from this movie. The recent years, it's kind of come under fire for its accuracy.
I
Um,
have two ideas of what you're gonna pick.
okay,
And I
the
think they're
blinds,
both, yeah.
the
I was
blind
gonna
side.
say
Yeah.
both of my opinions were that because I think the same guy wrote that book and the other
Yes.
one I'm thinking of. So,
Okay. I can't.
um,
What's the other one you're thinking of?
well, I don't want to spoil. It is my number one.
Okay.
Hang on.
Okay. It could be mine too, so we'll
Wait,
see. But
hang on. Money. Oh, don't say it.
oh, you already said it.
Did he write The Blind Side too? I think he
I would be
did.
surprised. I would be surprised, but maybe.
Uh, yeah, he did write The Blind Side.
Wow.
So,
Okay. We
or
might have the same number of.
he wrote the book. So,
Okay.
anyways,
You might have
I
just spoiled something,
I don't
but yeah,
know if I've seen all of. I've definitely seen a large chunk of it.
you have to. You have to.
I
It's,
don't
I
know if
mean,
I
it's
can
just,
anymore
but
after what
here's
I've heard.
it's just, I think it's sad. You just have to, and so maybe you just watch it and just pretend it's a fiction movie because apparently that's basically what it is. But it's a really good movie. There's a lot of, funny quotes. Sandra Bullock was really good in it.
Yeah, I remember her
Um,
being fun in it or good in it.
and
Yeah.
so it's just I don't know. I think that's a like a comfort movie I could just watch because it's just kind of funny. And it is kind of sad now, you hear all this stuff coming out about maybe the family wasn't really as good to him as the movie would make you think, and
And
I think they
profited
were like
off.
stealing, yeah,
Yeah.
stealing money off of him, which is, unfortunate. So, hopefully there's a little bit more to that story, but I don't know. That one is something that I saw the headline, I read the story, and I've just chosen to just try and forget it as much as I can because I don't want it to ruin that movie for me.
Nice. Yeah, no, I've seen a large chunk of it years ago. But I
Hmm.
don't know if I'll watch it now just because of what I've heard. Kind of the opposite of what you're saying, but
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe one day. We'll see. All right, my number two, I don't even know if you've heard of it. I think this one's really under the radar. Hustle on Netflix.
I've heard of it. I don't think I've seen it, but I have heard of it.
The basketball movie with Adam Sandler, where he finds the unique prospect from, I think he was in Spain, and brings him over and tries to get him in the NBA.
Hmm.
I've heard some people call it uh the Moneyball of NBA of basketball movies, which I don't totally agree with because it's not as like
Yeah. It sounds more like Million Dollar Arm.
maybe.
Have you seen that one?
I have not, no. So it's not as analytical, I guess, as Moneyball is. You know,
Yeah.
Moneyball really tries to go into the details of how it works, and the Hustle isn't really about
Yeah.
that. It's more about just the story and the characters. But I think I've watched it 3 times, like
Okay.
pretty quick after the first time I watched it, just because I thought it was really good. Adam
Hmm.
Sandler, pretty, when he's not doing stupid comedy roles, is a really good actor.
Yeah.
And he's really good in it. The basketball player who's played by a former NBA player, I can't remember his name. His name's Bo Cruz in the movie. I can't remember what the basketball player's actual. Oh, it's this guy's brother. 1 second. Hang on. I'm interested now. This is killing the momentum. Hustle movie player. Yeah, I know. Juancho Hernan Gomez is the actual player. So, he
Yeah.
plays the
Never heard
fiction.
of her.
He him. He's never played. Yeah, he really was. I mean, he's a role player, I think, in the NBA. I think he spent more time overseas. But for an NBA player or a basketball player, like he's really good in it.
Hmm.
It has a ton of NBA cameo. I mean, Anthony Edwards plays a fictional character, but he's also really good in it. And then there's just,
Hmm.
Dirk, Chuck. Um, I think Kenny's in it for a little bit.
Nah.
Like they just kind of throw every cameo they can at you, which as an NBA fan is really fun to see. Um,
Yeah.
so I really enjoyed it. I think at Sandler and Hernan Gomez are really good in it. It's a fun story. It's funny and and it is kind of again, it's not, I don't know how realistic it is, but it is a nice little insight into the draft world. So,
Yeah.
and what it takes to get a prospect, in the league. So it's
All
on
right.
Netflix, so I think it's
Yeah.
a pretty easy watch too. It's not
Yeah.
super demanding.
Yeah. Yeah. I am generally a fan of Adam Sandler movies, so I may check that out. Number one, I have a feeling we have the same number one,
Yeah,
just based on,
you haven't said it yet, so
yes, Moneyball is
yeah.
is my number one. I mean, it's just a great movie. Like obviously for us kind of, inside baseball fans, like it's obviously really cool to see kind of the story behind how that happened. I know there are some questions about creative liberties they took in that as well.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think it's just a really great story. Brad Pitt and Jonah Hill were both really, really good in that.
Hmm.
So, some good performances. I just think it's a great movie. It's a great story. And, I will preface it with saying that it's probably more for baseball fans, I think, than non-baseball fans. Like I think it does have some other appeal, but
I think,
I think just the idea of how important that kind of development was for
mhm.
baseball would be lost on, some other fans who would just say, well, what's the big deal?
Yeah, I think that's who's going to get the most out of it because,
Yeah.
and how I was comparing it to Hustle, it does go a little bit more into the analytical real life stuff than
Yeah.
something like Hustle does. I mean, there's still plenty of the emotional, character driven stuff in it. With his character and, kind of trying to redeem his, what
Hmm.
happened to him as a player. Um, but yeah, it is a little bit more, I don't want to say nerdy, but a little bit more,
Yeah.
based off the real thing, which, yeah, like you said, baseball fans are going to get more
Yeah.
out of. And just, it's about kind of the beauty of the game, which, again, baseball fans are going to get the most out of. But yeah, I think that's, I do like Brad Pitt as an actor a lot.
Yeah.
He was in one of my honorable mentions. I think that's one of his strongest roles. I think he's really,
Yeah.
really
I would
good in
agree.
it. The writing is really good. Aaron
Yeah.
Sorkin, who I know you'll know as one of the lead guys
Yeah.
behind The West Wing.
Yeah.
And it has that same dialogue, that same
Yeah.
really snappy, kind of quick wit
Yeah.
dialogue, which
I didn't realize he was a part of that, but that's funny.
yeah, he was the writer for the West. He was probably a show leader too, and then yeah, he was the writer for Moneyball. I don't think he directed. He's done some directing, but I don't
Okay.
think he directed that.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay. That's funny.
so, anyways, yeah, I think it's kind of you can put it on as background. You can put it on and
Yeah.
actually sit down and watch it.
Yeah.
I meant to say this about 42. It's a really TikTokable movie in
Yeah.
that like
Oh,
you
definitely.
you see people just put scenes of it on TikTok and then you just sit there and
Yeah.
watch a
Yeah.
scene of it. Like it's one of those
Yeah.
movie that gets TikToked a lot. Like 42
Yeah.
does as well.
That's
So
interesting.
yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know. And again, it just it hits the emotional beats too. So for
Yeah,
me, at
I would
least.
agree. It's I think maybe my favorite part now about it, having seen it so many times. There's this one Twitter account called Moneyball Memes, and so they will
Mm,
just, constantly be pulling out like quotes from the show and applying it to like, modern day situations, whether in baseball or just, general things going on. And I just
right.
find that account really funny.
I
And,
need to find that.
it's like some of those references are just so niche where it's like if you didn't see the movie and know it really well, you wouldn't get it. But it's just kind of funny, when you see some of those things pop up. Like, they do have some good tweets, I will say. So I do enjoy following that account.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's our top fives. I do want to give a shout out. Um, I act like a shout out's gonna do anything for me, but I do want to mention. I don't know if you know the YouTuber John Boys worked for SB Nation. I don't know if I think he still does work for SB Nation. He's done a couple of really long like docu-series on YouTube about
Hmm.
a couple teams that are really good. Um, He's done one. He did one on the Mariners, which is really good. I didn't say honorable mention because they're like 8 hours long in total, but
Yeah.
they're very long documentaries basically. So he
Hmm.
did one on the Mariners. He did one on the Falcons. I think he did one on the Vikings. I might not be. I'm not sure on. I think he did. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did. So those are all
Okay.
really good. So if you have time to kill, those are all worth watching. And again, not a movie. But I think The Last Dance deserves
I was gonna
uh
say, yeah, I'm
the
surprised you didn't mention that one.
it deserves a mention. It's not a movie, but I mean,
Yeah.
just a hell of a series and really,
Yeah.
really interesting. They took an already interesting thing, which was the 90s Bulls, and made
Yeah.
it, I think, more interesting. So, and that was, for people like us who didn't grow up with those teams, obviously
Yeah.
we came 4 years after the last
Yeah.
title.
Exactly.
It's a great gateway to see just not only how good they were, but just how crazy that shit was. So,
Yeah.
Um,
And it came out at such a good time during COVID
it came
too,
out during
where,
COVID, which
a lot of people were at home watching it.
I
Like
don't
I
remember.
think it's fair to say, I don't think that would have been nearly as successful if it hadn't been released during COVID.
Not
Like the
partial.
I think the audience was just so much bigger, like bigger
Oh
than even
yeah.
like the
I
general
mean,
sports audience.
no, I think it was. I think it was a good combination of COVID when people were at home and they wanted
Yeah.
something to watch. It was about a cultural icon, which I mean, again,
Yeah.
that's something we don't grasp, and that The Last Dance
Yeah.
kind of talks about is like just how
Yeah.
much of a global phenomenon, Jordan was, and then the team was in general.
Hmm.
And it does a good job laying into that. I actually didn't watch it during COVID. I think I watched it like right after when it landed on Netflix is when I watched it.
Okay.
And I just cranked through it. But I remember
Yeah.
they were showing censored versions of it on ABC during COVID.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is weird to think about that they're
Yeah.
showing, I don't know if it's an official 30 for 30, but
I think it was
I think
because it
it
was an
was.
ESPN production. Yeah.
It's ESPN. I think it's under the 30 for 30 label, but like
I believe so.
they
Yeah.
never show those on ABC, so that was really weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, not a movie, but definitely worth a watch if no one's watched it. So,
Fair enough.
all right. Well, if we got nothing else to add, I think we'll take a break, and then when we come back, we'll pick up with our other top five subject. There we go. And welcome back. Bubba and I are back from our quick break. And before we get to our next top five, I did want to mention I had another movie thought while I was
Okay.
in the kitchen during the break. I don't know if I think I watched it for school, and I don't know if you weren't in the same class, but you might have taken it. Did you ever watch Icarus on Netflix?
No, isn't that like a really old like play or character?
Well, I mean, Icarus is, I think, a Greek myth.
Yeah.
He's the character who flew too close to the sun. Um,
Hmm.
but no, Icarus, and it's not really a sports movie, which is why I didn't even think about it until 5 minutes ago. But it's
Okay.
basically this cyclist is trying to figure out if PEDs actually helps you like perform better cycling, obviously
Hmm.
building off the back of Lance Armstrong. Um, and then he recruits like a Russian scientist to help him learn how to juice and get away with it. And it turns out that that scientist was involved with the 2014. I guess it is more of a sports movie than I thought.
Okay.
He was involved with the 2014 Russian Olympic scandal where all their
Hmm.
athletes were juicing, and this cyclist, who's also a documentary maker, just kind of stumbled onto him, and it ends really crazy. Like it gets really crazy by the end. So that one would probably make my top five, honestly, if I'd thought of it sooner. But it's just weird. It starts out as like this cycling movie, this guy just drugging himself, and then turns into this, political Olympic scandal movie.
Yeah.
So, by like
Interesting.
pure happen chance. So, by pure chance. So, anyways, all right, let's move on to our next top five. This was a topic suggested by you, so I don't really know what this
Yeah.
says. I don't know what this really says about you, but we're gonna do it. It
There's
was
nothing wrong with being a hater
top
occasionally,
five.
Peter.
Oh, I trust me, I get it. I'm a professional hater at some points. Top five most disliked athletes and or
Yeah.
teams,
Yep.
for one reason or the other, which I'm sure we'll get into. So,
Yeah.
um, I'll start off this time since you started off the
Okay.
last one. Um, this is probably the one pick that I'm super sold on. The other four,
Okay.
I'm like, I dislike. I wouldn't say I like have a super strong hate in my heart for any of them,
Yeah.
but this is the one where I'm like, yeah, fuck that guy.
Okay.
Um, Aaron Rodgers and the Packers.
Okay.
I
That's
had to
I
th
can I didn't put him on the list, but I can definitely understand it.
So obviously there's the biased part, like seeing the
Yeah.
guy dominate my team for
Yeah.
most of my football life until
Hmm.
whenever he left the Packers, um, sucked. But even outside of that, I just can't stand him. I think
Yeah.
he's this fake, he tries to be this kind of philosopher, I'm
Yeah.
sending my mind to another dimension. I'm going in these darkness retreats, and it's just
Yeah.
bullshit. I think he's just,
Yeah.
pardon my French, he's an attention whore.
Yeah, that's
It
fair
was,
enough.
I really started to develop it when after he got injured with the Jets in that
Yeah.
season opener. I think it was an ACL tear, right? Wasn't it?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and then, every day either at my undergrad, either in the cafeteria or the gym, they would have the Pat McAfee show. And I thought
Oh,
every
God.
day I saw that
Yeah.
man's face on there. I'm like, what are you doing? Like,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
he's trying to preach this, alternative bullshit, and then he's going on the
Yeah.
Pat McAfee show every single day. It's like, God,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I just can't stand him. And this whole, even this summer, the holding out on the Steelers, who he eventually
Yeah.
re-signed with, is like, dude, just make up your like. He's so washed now too. I mean,
No, yeah.
he's still
He,
capable, but
yeah.
he's not obviously what he once was. And it's like you don't need to be making this whole deal about going back to the
Yeah.
Steelers for a year. So,
Yeah.
I can't stand again outside of the Bears Packers thing and what he did
Yeah.
on the field. I just can't stand him. And then yeah, I don't like the Packers, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I there's another Milwaukee team on this list as well who we'll get to.
Okay.
I just, I just think the little brother syndrome, even though I know
Yeah.
Packers, have dominated as of late, but it's so real because like even last year when the Bears
Yeah.
actually for the first time in forever had a better season than the Packers, it just, the Twitter,
Yeah.
the coping on Twitter was amazing to watch. So,
Yeah.
and everyone bitching and crying about when Ben Johnson did the drive-by handshake
Hmm.
and then
Yeah.
he said fuck the Packers in the locker room. It's like grow
Hmm.
up. Like it's a
Hmm.
rivalry. They should hate each other.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
Aaron
I
Rodgers, I can't stand Packers. Obviously, I
yeah.
don't like.
I think that's a fair one. And I mean, to be fair to you, you've consistently held that view since like elementary school. So, we're going back a long way here with your hatred of Aaron Rodgers. I mean, you might remember I kind of used to like him because I don't know. I didn't like, I wouldn't say the Packers were like one of my favorite teams, but I
Hmm.
did kind of root for them in the playoffs when that would come around. But yeah, I think it really started during COVID when he started just being a big mouth, giving his
Hmm.
opinions and, on things that he knows nothing about but thinks he
Hmm.
does. So
Um,
yeah, for him, he's not on my list, but I could definitely see why
and
you would say that.
And I've been to Green Bay now. Like I've been to
Hmm.
Lambeau for it was a non-Bears Packers game. I just went because
Hmm.
uh I was able to go and just the attitude around there. It's like, holy shit, like shut
Yeah,
up. Like, oh my
yeah,
God. Um
yeah.
I mean, obviously every town is crazy about their football team, but dear God, you would think the Packers are the second coming. So,
I'm not going
um
to shit on the Packers, but Aaron Rodgers, I'm in full agreement with you on.
all right,
Okay.
let's
I
hear
think
yours.
mine is interesting because it's probably more athlete heavy. Like I didn't really, there is one team in my top five, but I
Hmm.
think on the team side. So I will first go through my honorable mentions. Have to say the Rams. Fuck the Rams. Fuck Stan Kroenke. I mean, that one, I just have to have that. I'm also going to say the LA Dodgers just because I think for
Hmm.
obvious reasons. Like, I don't really hate them, or I honestly like a lot of the players. It's just kind of
Yeah,
annoying,
and
that whole situation.
I think the Dodgers run into the same issue that I have with like Tom Brady, where
Yeah.
like at a certain point, because they don't do anything too stupid like off the field, like they're not
Yeah.
assholes. Like,
No, they're not. Yeah.
and obviously Brady has some drama, but like Brady's not an asshole, I would
No.
say.
Yeah.
At a certain point, you kind of gotta respect just
Yeah.
how well run it is. Like
Yeah.
just I know a lot of people who hate Tom Brady. Like my dad can't stand
Yeah.
him. And I'm like at this point, it's like I kind of respect it. So
Yeah.
um
I think that's kind of how it would be for me because I didn't like him when he played, but now that, he's not winning every year, now you can
mhm,
more respect it. So I did put the Dodgers on there, but I think if anything, that's more of a jealousy thing than anything else. I also honorable mentions Antonio Brown. I know he's not
mm.
necessarily active anymore, but fuck that guy. And then this is someone I'm not sure you're going to know. Patrick Reed is a golfer, American
It sounds
golfer.
very familiar. Yeah.
He's won the Masters before. He's a
Mm.
very solid player. He's pretty fat, so I call him the Pillsbury Doughboy. He's just very annoying. He's had several like cheating scandals that have kind
Mm.
of tarnished his name. So
Like
I had to put
cheating in golf or in life.
In golf.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No. It's also funny because his wife has like a burner Twitter account where
Nice.
she will just like be defending him in the comments. So he definitely found a loyal wife. So good for him. But anyway, on to my actual list. Number five, and I guess this person is not active anymore. I'm going to say Conor McGregor,
Mm.
who just for, I think a common theme on my list is going to be loudmouths. I just don't really like people that are boastful like that. And
Hmm.
also, I will also mention I could have put Pat McAfee on this list because I don't really like him either.
Yeah, but
But
I don't like him as a
yeah, yeah, yeah,
journalist or whatever
yes,
he
quote
claimed,
unquote.
whatever.
Yeah,
I will say this about McAfee, when he is not trying to be serious and like actually have takes, I think that's what he's best at. Is
yeah, that's fine.
like him on College Game Day, I'm perfectly fine with because like he's just kind of there to be a
Yeah,
goofball. He's there to
yeah,
be comic
exactly.
relief, which I think is fine.
Yeah,
It's,
but his own
his
show,
own
yeah.
show. Yeah, that I don't like. So anyways,
Yeah. So
McGregor.
yeah, Conor McGregor, number five. I don't have too much to add. I think it's probably pretty evident why someone would feel that way. You
Hmm.
know, a lot of people really like him. They see him as kind of in a similar way to Trump. I feel like a lot of guys our age see Conor McGregor and they're like, this is this really successful athlete. He's
Right.
made, an honest living, like doing this, and has kind of really done a good job with his brand. So I don't know. I just hear him talk and I'm just like, shut up. But that's just me.
Understandable. All right. Yeah, I never really had a strong opinion on McGregor other than I know he was everywhere.
Yeah.
So all right. Moving on, I do have one more team. I got the Brewers. Um,
Okay.
I can't stand the Brewers. Kind of the same thing I said with the Packers about
Yeah.
little brother syndrome to, Chicago teams where, obviously now Milwaukee has a little more going on than Green Bay. But just this attitude of like, I don't know, just kind of like fuck Chicago. I don't know how to say it, but it's just
Yeah.
it's really annoying. They flew the L flag after they beat the Cubs in the playoffs, which I
Hmm.
thought, which like I'm all for like some boasting. Like I think, like planting the flag in college, like I'm all for that. I think that's fun.
Yeah.
That was like, really guys, like that's not even a thing. Like
Yeah.
someone had that custom made just as an
Yeah.
FU to the Cubs. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
really? And then it was
Yeah.
funny, they got swept by the Dodgers, and then afterwards the Packers got upset by the Bears twice in
Hmm.
comebacks. So I guess there's a little bit of karma. But anyways,
Evened out, maybe.
um, and and kind of this way to a lesser degree than the Dodgers, but it's just annoying this voodoo devil black magic shit they do every year where they come in with a bunch of guys and somehow they win the division. Like it's just it gets so annoying at a certain point. And like again, it's hard to really hate on it because like it's just a well-run organization
Yeah.
clearly. But at the same time, it just frustrates the fuck out of me. Because at least if you get beat by somebody by the Dodgers, you're like, oh well, they have what, four MVPs or whatever it is on their
Yeah.
team. You get beat by, Pat Murphy and the power of friendship and the Dodger and the Brewers. It's like, dude,
Yeah.
what the fuck's going on? So they're just annoying. And obviously
Okay.
they've kind of killed the Cubs the last 2 days, so they're really relevant right now in my mind. But that's the
Okay.
Brewers. Fuck Milwaukee. Fuck Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Stupid, stupid state.
Clearly you don't have any future employment opportunities in the state of Wisconsin. I think we can just cancel that out
Well,
right
I
now.
don't want them either. So
Okay, fair enough. I don't have anything against the Brewers. Like, yes, are they good every year? And can that be, annoying? Sure. But I mean, I think for me, they're just a really good franchise.
yeah,
And I think I can always respect teams that manage to do it without like the insanely high payroll.
right.
So I think for me, I don't have anything against the Brewers. Number four on my list is a football team in the state of Missouri for now, leaving soon, the Kansas
Mm,
City Chiefs.
yeah,
For me, it's like 10 years ago, I wouldn't have said this, but I just think a lot of people can agree. Like, and it's kind of sort of to kind of subside now, but just the way the fan base got, especially the St. Louis fan base for the Chiefs, for me,
hmm
just always rubbed me the wrong way because, you know. we obviously had two NFL teams here in Missouri, and the Chiefs pretty much were fully on board and were kind of pushing for the Rams to move to LA
Of
because
course. Yeah.
they saw the business opportunity. So
Right.
for me, that just always irritated me when the Hunts, the owners of the Chiefs,
Yeah.
acted like that. And then for them to become really good, obviously, when they got Mahomes and,
Hmm.
kind of dominating the headlines every year, it just got to be annoying. I don't even have any issue really with anyone in the organization. Like, Mahomes is a really great player.
Yeah,
Andy
I don't.
Reid's a great coach. Like, it's hard to have fault with anybody other than maybe Andy Reid's son, like paralyzing or, that
Yeah.
5-year-old girl, but that's not the Chiefs' fault. But for me, I just think kind of what they have represented over the last 10 years and kind of how for me, like, there hasn't been a lot of pride in the city here, St. Louis. Like that team basically was cheering for our team to move away. And
Right.
then, they were just more than happy to pick up the
Everyone
pieces
jumped
and
ship. Yeah.
yeah.
I think my hate for the Chiefs was really strong in high school, like when they
Hmm.
were really good and I was still living in St. Louis. Like
Yeah.
that got really annoying. And then I
Yeah.
moved to Chicago for undergrad and it kind of went away because obviously
Hmm.
there are not a ton of Chief fans up there. And like you
Yeah.
said, I don't have a problem with really anyone in the organization itself, except for one person who is half of one of my picks. I'll probably do that one
Okay.
next. But like Mahomes is talented. I don't think he's annoying. It's
Yeah.
just it's a lot of the things around the team. Like
Yeah.
obviously somebody's high profile relationship right now is really annoying.
Yes. The
Mahomes
calls they get, the refs.
Mahomes's wife and his brother are annoying
Yes.
slash his brother. I know his brother did some shit.
Yes.
Mahomes wasn't Mahomes's dad jailed too.
Yes, he has
Um,
been several times.
and
Yeah.
then obviously they do have a couple players who got into trouble. Like
Yeah.
who's the current one right now? Is it Worthy?
Rice.
Rice,
Rasheed
yeah,
Rice. Yeah.
Rasheed Rice. I think maybe Worthy did too. I don't.
I hope not.
I hope I'm not throwing Xavier Worthy under the bus for no reason.
You might be
Um,
this podcast might be hit with a lawsuit soon for
yeah.
just
Well, hang on. Let me fact check so I
uh,
can correct.
potentially clear Mr. Worthy's name.
Yeah, he did. I knew it. Um,
Okay.
Arrested in Texas in March of 25, charged with felony domestic assault for allegedly impeding breathing. So,
Oh,
I knew there was something.
that's
Anyways, yeah. So, anyways, but even that doesn't really, I mean, those two doing their stupid shit doesn't really like, make me hate the Chiefs. This will lead nicely into one of my picks, which I actually didn't think of until you started talking about the Chiefs, which is
mm,
I got a double whammy here with the Kelsey brothers. Um,
oh,
I
the
can't,
brothers?
the brothers. Yeah, I'm throwing Jason in there
Wow.
too. Fuck it.
Wow.
Um,
So this
Obviously
is number three for you?
these aren't in any particular order, other than
Okay.
Rodgers is definitely number one. The other
Okay.
four are just kind of whatever. Um,
Okay.
I can't stand. I think Travis is pretty self-explanatory. I think ever since they started winning, I think he got pretty annoying. And then obviously, he's in the relationship with Tay Tay, so which is just annoying on another level. How high profile. I mean, I get it. It is high profile, but
Yeah.
it gets so fucking annoying at a certain point.
Yeah, it was just really shoved down everybody's throats too much.
And
Yeah.
then and then the reason I'm throwing Jason in there is because I hate and you see, people do this. They think that just because you're an athlete or a former athlete, you deserve a platform. And like
Hmm.
they don't. I don't think Jason or Travis deserve to be on podcasts. I don't think they deserve to be doing, Buffalo Wild Wing commercials. Like,
Okay.
I don't think I just hate how much they and their mom, fuck it, I'll throw Donna in there too. Um, I just hate how much the three of them and really the brothers are just,
Yeah.
really forced down our throat in terms of
Okay.
here's their podcast. Oh, now
Yeah.
Jason's doing this commercial and he's doing this commercial. And it's like, my God, like he's not entertaining. I'm sorry. Like
Yeah.
I don't think he's entertaining. I don't think they there's a couple of times where Jason will have good insight to something, but that's about it. So,
Yeah.
it's a rare breed of athlete who can be that, entertaining, insightful mix,
Yeah.
like a Charles Barkley, someone like that who can be funny but
Yeah.
also be insightful. And I don't think,
Like an OJ Simpson. I'm just just
what the
kidding, but
okay. I don't
you didn't
know.
follow his Twitter page?
No, I tried to stay away from Mojo when he was alive.
He actually had some really kind of
I
funny,
know,
just
I know he
like,
had some banger tweets. But
and just well, he would just post these like 5 minute videos from like the
yeah.
golf course talking about random games and stuff. That was
So,
more of a joke though.
anyways, I just can't stand him. I don't know what it is,
Okay.
but I can't stand him. And
Okay.
I did get one of the funniest moments I probably had with my friends was we were watching NFL. It was Sunday or something. We're watching the NFL, or maybe it was at night. Um, okay, I don't know if I can do that. So I got a text. And one of Jason's Buffalo Wild Wings commercials came on where he's talking with the CGI buffalo.
Okay. Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
talking to the real Buffalo Wild Wings. And I was looking
Mm.
at the TV and I said something like, "Man, I just can't stand him." Obviously talking about Jason. And my friend next to me goes, "Who? Kelsey?" And I go, "No, dumbass, the buffalo. What the
The
fuck do you think
Buffalo.
what do you think I'm talking
Yeah.
about?" So I guess thanks for that, Jason. But other than that, I
Yeah.
think they're annoying and I think they're just put out too much. I think, Jason should have gone away after he
Okay.
retired, just kind of, you know, do a show here or there, but they don't need a podcast. So
Okay. Yeah. I mean, if Spotify or whatever would rather give us that deal instead of them, I don't know if
yeah,
people would rather
good
listen to that. I'm
good
sure we
luck.
would be okay with that.
I think we'd be
But yeah,
smart.
that's
We'd be higher IQ. But anyways,
probably. Yeah, I mean, I think I can sort of see it with Travis. Like, and I don't think either of them are bad guys, but it's just, yes, you're right. The extent to which it was kind of shoved down our throats. I mean, Travis, I just think is kind of stupid. At least that's
hmm
kind of how he kind of comes off. So, to hear him, give his kind of, but I've never listened to their podcast, so I don't really know the type of stuff they talk about. I don't have any issue with Jason. I actually find Jason and his wife to be, pretty normal, seeming people. So I'm not really super bothered by them. But I can understand your point, in large part about just how they've sort of been made into something that they're not. So
right.
I can kind of see where you're coming from. Number three on my list, another golfer. This one, I don't know if you're going to know who he is or not. Sergio Garcia. He's won
Nah.
the Masters. He's a
Okay.
Spaniard. He's just known for his temper tantrums on the golf
Mm.
course. Like just this year at the Masters, like he broke a tee box and like snapped his driver. Just he was acting like a baby girl. So, he just has a lot of anger issues. But more than
hmm
that, he's just kind of an asshole. So there's this story I think it was 10 or 15 years ago. He and Tiger were you know, I think they were like 1 and 2 on the leaderboard at a fairly big tournament. And they've always kind of had like a heated, sort of back and forth over the years. Obviously, Tiger's done a lot better than Sergio, but Sergio has been a pretty good
Right.
golfer his entire career. And I don't remember the exact, context, but they had had some dispute that I guess the media had kind of picked up on. And after one of his rounds, Sergio was asked by the press, like, "Oh, have you and Tiger talked since whatever this happened?" And he made this joke. I mean, this was 15 years ago, so it's not like this is the 1980s. And he goes, "No, I think it's going to be fine. I'm just going to invite him over to my house for some fried chicken."
Jesus.
And like I'm honestly surprised he didn't get in more trouble than that than he did because you say something like that now, obviously, people would have strong reactions, but I don't even think
Christ.
most people in the golf world even like know about that, and that was only like 15 years ago at most.
Yeah.
So he's my number three. That's more of a just specific one. But I had to say it because he's just kind of everything I don't like about golfers, just like really annoying. The anger issues, especially on the golf course, has always been a pet peeve of mine. So he's my number three.
Okay. Um, I'll get my next two out because they're kind of in the same vein, and
Okay.
I don't want to start a big debate about either of them because you might have something to say. I'm going to STL athletes here. Um, the next two I got Yadier Molina
God.
and I got Jordan Bennington.
Okay.
Um,
Cry more, Lib.
what the hell does that mean? Yadier, and and I will again, kind of like I did with Rodgers, and I don't dislike either of them nearly as much as I dislike Rodgers. But taking out the what they've done on the field slash the ice. I mean, obviously, Molina beat up, not that he was, I wouldn't say he was a Cub killer, but obviously he was good against them
Yeah.
for years.
Yeah.
And kind of same thing with Bennington. Like he's not a Blackhawks killer, but
Yeah.
obviously he's good. Um, Outside of that, like I think Molina, Molina is one of those guys you love to have him on your team. You hate to not have him on your team because obviously, like very good catcher, good bat. Um, I still just I could not stand his personality like off the field.
Mm.
He's got that fiery temper around him, and I really hate it. It was during COVID, I think, when he
Oh,
posted
with
on he
the
posts.
Cubs thing, or
Yeah,
when what's his
when
name? Chris Bryant said that.
Well, I wasn't even thinking of that. I was thinking of as during COVID, and he posted on his Instagram like a picture of him and a bunch of people together, and the caption was just like "fuck COVID," and
I don't
then
remember that. That's
and then
interesting.
I think like 3 weeks later he caught a case of COVID, and I'm like,
Hmm.
all right, fuck you, asshole. So
Okay. I will
I
say, in his defense, he was one of the players on the Cardinals that was vaccinated. So
yeah, well, there you go. Well, maybe it was after that. Um, and then.
probably not, but
Yeah, I don't know about that. I just remember that post being a thing. And
yeah.
then with Bennington, just the fucking, I'm not nervous bullshit. Like, shut up. I'm sorry. I get it. Like, that's what you're supposed to say, but that is one of my favorite things is whenever people beat the crap out of him, like they,
Okay.
they just post videos about, oh, I'm not nervous. It's like, yeah, you look a little nervous. And he does his, after a bad goal, he'll throw a little hissy fit or whatever occasionally. And I can't stand me. And just the Jordan Bennington mania that was going around in 2019, which, I get
Yeah.
it. Like I understand it. And like I'm not saying that it wasn't deserved because obviously he was a big reason they won a cup. But it obviously as a Blackhawks fan in St. Louis, that was really annoying to live through. Also, if we did a top five most disliked songs, Gloria would be on there. Can't I can't stand that song. Let it die.
Wow.
Um, so yeah, and I'll throw a little bonus in there as well. I think Joey Votto is kind of in the same vein. Um,
Okay. That's interesting because he's
I
generally pretty well liked.
I know he is, but I don't know, something about him. And again, it's probably because he beat up on the Cubs, and
Yeah.
you don't like people who do well against your favorite team. But I don't know, something about how he would act off. I don't really have any like concrete examples, but just something rubbed me the wrong way about him. So, and everyone was
Those
like,
damn
"Oh,
Canadians.
he's like, oh, he's so funny, and he does this funny stuff." I'm like, "Shut up!" Like he's not that funny. So I don't know.
Interesting.
That's my spiel on Molina, Bennington, and Joey Votto. So,
Okay. Well, I will briefly respond if that's acceptable. Yachty, I'm not gonna lie. I just don't see like if he put up the career he did for your team, you wouldn't feel that way about him.
well, that's what I said.
And,
Yeah.
and I mean, like, I can understand why that would be frustrating, but I think the one thing that irks me is people that like somehow still don't think he's going to be a Hall of Famer. Like
Hmm.
I think that's just a very foolish take that some people have.
Yeah.
Bennington, I will say, I can totally understand that. And I even do remember, like, especially like, at the height of that run,
Hmm.
he was very, just annoying and boastful and just kind of honestly obnoxious. Like I have to say, I've kind of always felt that way about him since he came on the scene. Now, he's had a very, successful career, respectable at this
Right.
point, a Stanley Cup. I think what he did last year in both the playoffs for us, but also for Canada,
Hmm.
at the Four
Four
Nations, that was
Nations. Yeah.
that was really, really awesome. So he's had some really good highlights of his career, but I can totally understand why you'd say that. My number two is Bryson DeChambeau.
Yep.
I think I that's probably someone that you'd at least be familiar with. You
Yep.
probably
I know of him.
which yeah, which is interesting because he's very popular, like among a lot of people
Hmm.
our age, so especially people that aren't golf fans. He's really big in the like the YouTube golf space.
Hmm.
Um, but for me, I just kind of what you were saying with Rogers, like he's very fake. Like
Hmm.
5 years ago or so, he was kind of known as a crybaby on tour. Like he would always be asking for, different like rules officials to come and stuff. And he's always been his own person, which I can respect, but you know, he has kind of tried to be as obnoxious as possible. And he's known for kind of his slow play. And then he went to live, which I didn't like, obviously.
Hmm.
But then he kind of changed his entire personality and is like he would be someone that I just imagine like he just stays up all night practicing his like celebrations in the mirror. Like that's what he seems like. So, and that's a really unpopular take on my part, but
Hmm.
that's my number two.
Interesting. Yeah, I can't really speak on him, but from the sounds of it, no good. All right, before your number one, I do have some honorable mentions. These two, well, for different reasons, I kind of group them together because it's more the fan base than them. I'll throw Kobe in there, and then and then
Uh,
on completely like what a weird combo. Lando Norris, the F1 racer. Um, I
okay.
don't have a big problem with either of them themselves. Like, obviously, both talented, both champions now
Mhm.
after won last year. Yeah, there are some things about them I don't like. Lando runs his mouth stupidly a little sometimes, and obviously, Kobe was not a great human, let's say. Definitely did some stupid shit. But
Allegedly.
their fan bases, oh my God. I mean, I think the Kobe one, real especially, it's just like. I don't know. It's this idea that they just kind of overlook, the things that, as you say, he allegedly did.
Yeah.
They treat him like he's the second coming of Christ. And I'm like, guys, like, he's not I'm sorry, he's not a role model.
Yeah.
He was kind of a shitty person in some regards. So, and and for Norris, for Lando, it's just fangirls. Like,
Okay.
if you hear people talking about, girls women get into F1 because of, they think the driver's attractive or something, which, I
He's the person.
he's the person, which I think is overblown. Like, I know there are plenty of women who like F1 because of other reasons, but like, I think most of the women who like, oh, I just like it because the driver's cute. All of them are Lando fans, like 99% of the time. And some of the
Okay.
discourse about him online, especially after he won the title last year, just got really stupid. So,
Okay.
a little overrated in my book. Then other than that, I don't think there's anyone else. I mean, obviously, I've never been a big LeBron fan.
Yeah. I was
I
just gonna
w-
say thank God for him. He doesn't have any allegations
I
because you would be
didn't
all over
I
that.
didn't I don't necessarily hate him.
Oh, you do. You do.
Well, I don't know about strong hate. I just like to, I like calming people down about him basically. I gotta stick up for the bull. Um, Other than that, and this isn't really a team, and I don't want to go on too much because we can probably talk about it in another episode, but it more of a trend, which is just the encroachment of sports gambling, like
Okay.
into sport,
Interesting.
not necessarily gambling, like sports gambling itself, like,
Yeah.
I- you know, I'm choosing my words carefully because I don't know what I'm technically considered now. I don't have any issue with sports gambling. Like if you want to put money
Yeah.
on the game, like yes, I have done it before when I wasn't an athlete. So like, that I'm fine with that. I really can't, and the one I really noticed it with was the UFL. Where like they have the money line always present. They have like the
Yeah.
changing money line, and it's like, look, like if you're gonna gamble, go for it. I have no issue with that, but like I don't need it shoved in my face during the broadcast
Okay.
too. Like talk about the
Yeah.
sport. I don't need to see. a 20th DraftKings ad while I'm trying to
Yeah.
watch, I'm trying to watch the Bears play. So
Yeah.
that's my little rant about,
I
just
think that would actually be a really good episode at some point, coming up here to discuss, because I think there's a lot of different segues from that, but
hmm
I think that would be one that I think would be good to expand on a little bit more, because I also have a lot of thoughts on that. That's an interesting point you make too. I think like I've always had a fairly open mind to it, but
Yeah.
I mean, some people just take it too far, and you're right. It's definitely being, kind of pushed down
Yeah.
our throats. And let's just be honest, there's a lot of people that seemingly don't have an ability to stop themselves from
Well,
doing it,
yeah.
and that's not a good thing, not for
No.
society,
And
and not for their
again,
bank accounts.
and
Yeah.
I'm not, and like I said, I'm not even talking about the actual gambling part of it, but
No,
just
yeah,
I would like some line of separation
yeah,
between, the gambling and the actual sport. Like you want to gamble on
yeah.
it, fine, but I don't need it, being a part of the broadcast as
Hmm.
well,
Yeah.
basically. So
Okay.
I don't know.
I think that's fair.
Let's hear number one.
Okay. This is probably going to be another person you're not overly familiar with, but you've definitely heard of him. Novak Djokovic is my number one.
Really? Huh.
Yeah, for this partially basically comes down to, as a pretty big tennis fan, my favorite player was always Nadal, and Djokovic
Hmm.
was one of the rivals.
Right.
So, there is a little bit of a jealousy aspect. But to me, you have the big three in tennis, Nadal, Federer, and Djokovic, who
Right.
Djokovic now has the most Grand Slams titles. So technically he's, the best technically.
He's the
But the
one. Yeah.
thing, the thing that kind of, drives most people crazy about him is, Nadal and Federer were both very respected athletes, and they
hmm
had a pretty big fan bases just because of how they were as kind of sportsmanship wise, and were just seen as good people. Not that Djokovic isn't, but Djokovic has kind of always been sort of desperate to have the same level of like fandom that they have, and he just has never really been that. So, and a lot of times when he would be playing one of those two guys, he would be, kind of the underdog and would be booed quite a bit. And, for him, that was just, I think, really, I guess you could say hurtful. But the way he's just kind of the villain, I guess you could say. And
hmm
then, on top of that, like as I said, he's not a bad guy, but it's just like that's just kind of how he's viewed in tennis by a lot of fans. But on top of that, you had the whole COVID stuff a couple of years ago. He refused to play, or he refused to get vaccinated, so he couldn't travel into Australia for, the Australian Open, one of the four Grand
hmm
Slams. And it was just a really weird situation where they like let him through customs and then they immediately detained him at the airport and then
Right.
eventually deported him. I don't know if you remember that.
hmm
So he didn't end up getting to play in that tournament, and he kind of has been held up as this kind of like anti-vax, hero by a lot of people on the right, just because like, oh, look at him, he stood up for his values and beliefs.
Right.
So I think for all those things combined, he's probably my number one. But I do have to give him credit for all the success he's had as well.
Right. All right. And then we got a couple minutes before we close. I do want to ask, because I've heard I'm a little surprised by the general opinion towards this athlete, actually. What are your thoughts on PCA?
It's interesting. Um, for me personally, I don't have anything against the guy. Like
Yeah.
I have noticed there's a large and growing segment of the St. Louis fan base that enjoys kind of trolling him.
Right.
Now, I don't, for me personally, like, I don't have anything against him. He seems like a fine guy, but like, I see a lot of those clips go viral of him like misplaying something.
hmm
And sometimes it's like a St. Louis account, and sometimes it's not. It's just a random
Right.
national account. So I don't have anything against him, but it is kind of funny. Like I see some people call him Jim Crow-Armstrong,
Yeah,
which
I've heard that,
I
which
don't
is
I don't
just
really know why,
like, what
because
the fuck are we
that's
doing?
yeah, like that's the opposite of his views too.
Right.
Like he's not like Matt Shaw, for example,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
and
that's
that's
an
been
ugh.
that's been pretty well documented. Like he's a lib, so
Right.
credit
Yeah,
credit to PCA there.
yeah, I've always just been confused about it because I'm like, why? I mean,
Yeah,
taking out the play, which, you know what you're getting with him, which is amazing defense and then a bat that comes and goes. But it's, I hear a lot of people call him a crybaby because, like, he does get visibly upset when he strikes
Yeah.
out or he gets thrown out at first, whatever. And my opinion's always been it's twofold. It's that one, like, he's our age, like he's 22,
Hmm.
23, something like that. Like he's still growing and maturing. And
Hmm.
two, like he's just exciting. And like I think baseball does need more of that to a degree of like these young, exciting athletes who like, people can, you can throw on TikTok and people will watch. So I don't know. I always just thought
Yeah.
that people are just like, oh, I fucking hate PCA. It's like, okay, why do
Yeah.
you hate him? Other than,
No, I agree.
maybe he played your team really well, but and they're like, oh, he's a
Yeah.
crybaby. I'm like, okay, he's a kid. Like
Yeah.
if he was 30 and doing this, I'd be singing a different tune. But
Yeah.
he's like
I
20.
think at this point he's just been kind of blown up to be something, and it's sort of gone down a little
I
bit
do get
now.
part of that too. Yeah. After the first
But,
half of last
yeah,
season, yeah. So
exactly. So I think if that would have stayed at that level, maybe things would have been a little bit, different now. But for me, like, I don't have anything against him. And honestly, I mean, the few times we played the Cubs, like after, he kind of had that streak, because I don't think we played you guys until late into the year last year. So he was already after that,
right.
kind of really strong play had. So he's been really bad against us. So at this point now, like, I don't have anything against him. Keep playing him against us, and we'll, really help the pitcher's strikeout totals.